أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي جعل الحمد مفتاحا لفضله ودليلا على آلائه وعظمته، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد. Abdullah al-Hussein with the loudest of our voices. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. For the love of Imam Sahib al-Asr wa zaman, روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. Once again, we thank Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for gracing us with this moment and this opportunity. Tonight being the 7th night of the holy month of Ramadan. We ask Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala to accept our humble efforts in this holy month of Ramadan. And we ask you subhanahu wa ta'ala, where we made mistakes and we may make mistakes in the rest of the days of this holy month, for him to amend those mistakes on our behalf, inshaAllah. And we ask Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala to reform us by the end of this holy month of Ramadan. The verse I've just quoted is the same verse of my theme, and that is from Surah Al-Mulk, verse number 2, where Almighty Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala remind us that He created life and death for one single reason and for one single purpose, and that is to examine us to see who will do the best deed and the best action. Now, departing from this verse, our topic of tonight will be Islamic disciplines of preparing a body for burial. And our examination of tonight, because of time, I will not take much of time, because normally Thursday we have Dua Kumail, which is also very important, will be of the following 2 stages. The first stage, we will look at our responsibilities towards a dying person. Someone who is in Sakarat. As we mentioned last night, what Sakarat is all about and what forms of difficulties a dying person goes through. So tonight we'll look at my responsibilities and your responsibilities towards a dying person. That you find yourself next to someone who is losing his or her life. Sometimes it may be your dad, and sometimes it may be your mom, and sometimes it may be your close friends. It may be everyone that all of a sudden you find yourself next to him or her. What does Islam teaches us on the way to conduct ourselves and to approach this person? As I said, some of these things, sometimes we don't pay attention to them, but they matter a lot in the eye of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, before we look at it, there is one line which I want brothers to take it as very important. That is to try as much as we can to prepare our kaffans and have them with us. It is highly recommended within the religion of Islam and the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam that one should have his own kafan with him or her. So as I mentioned the other night, our communities provide these facilities for us. But there are some fada'il and some merits of having one's kafan with him or her. Look at this tradition from our beloved prophets, where Rasulullah said, "Man kanat indahu kafanu fi baytih lam yuktab min al-ghafilin." Whoever has his kafan with him or her in his or her house, that person will not be amongst those who are negligent when it comes to the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because you have your kafan, it reminds you of the abode, and it reminds you of where you are heading towards to. When you look at those beautiful things that you have and those expensive things that you have, you don't look at that place, you see your kafan. Number two, fada'il or fadila of having a kafan is that you know, this kafan, I buy it or I bought it from my hard-earned money, which is lawful. And like sometimes I'm proud of wearing this aba'a because it is from my hard-earned money and it's halal. I don't have any doubt when it comes to why I wear and what you wear. So is there any proud better than having your kafan of akhirah from your hard, lawful earning money? Yes, mosque provide. But mosque, people donate. And donations come from different walks of life and from different forms of transactions. Halal, yes, halal. But the one I am sure of is that this 1,000 shilling that I bought the kafan with, I can account for it even if Allah stops me and asks me a question about it. That is why we have some great scholars within the school of thought of Ahlul Bayt. From time to time, they will wear their kafans and perform tahajjud to remind them of akhirah. So therefore, this is our very important responsibilities as those who are alive. Another second important responsibility, which I mentioned in passing and I want to repeat it. Make sure that hukukun nas is not on your shoulder. Hukukun nas is the most dangerous thing. That is why, see, when a person dies, you see, before the Maulana lead the Salat al-Janaza, family asks, is there anyone who owes my father? That moment, there are those, they will want to take the money, but they will feel shy in coming next to you to ask. And it is not haram to come and ask, guys, give me my money, your father owed me. It's not haram. So therefore, let us try as much as you can, young and old. Try to clear your account with people. You know what is dangerous about having people's right and you don't want to pay? Allah does not interfere or intervene. If you talk ill of a person, you can make istighfar 1,000,000 times. Allah will not listen to you up until the moment when the person says, I've forgiven you. So to backbite is also taking the right of people. Allah will not interfere. When I said, Astaghfirullah Rabbi Wa atubu ilay. I am asking for forgiveness regarding the sin between me and Allah. This astaghfirullah will not clear the sin between me and you. And the Holy Prophet made it very clear. If there is one thing which will make it difficult for people in the life of a barzah and akhirah, is hukukun nas. Some of the students, they take loans. They graduate and they are able to pay, and nobody bothers to pay. And you agreed to pay from the word go, is hukukun nas. You come to me, I lend you something, and now you're okay, you can pay, but you don't want to pay. You die with it, you are going with the bala and fitna up until the moment when the person forgives you and pardons you. So therefore, if we owe, whether a loan for studies, or a loan from a businessman, or a loan from anyone, that you promise I am going to pay, and you refuse to pay, that will be a thorn for you. Right on the bed of your departure to grave, we'll speak about grave in a few days' time, and up until Mahshar on the day of Qiyamah. You know, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam asked and requested that he wanted to see the angel of death in his form when it takes the soul of a bad person, munafiq, who eats people's rights, and non-believer. Narration says, angel appeared to Ibrahim in his form. What is the form Rasulullah described? He said, I saw darkness, darker than the night. And I saw someone taller than a date tree, and fire coming out of his nose, mouth, standing next to me. And he said, when I take the soul of a munafiq, of someone who eats people's wealth, and he don't bother to pay back, this is how I come. I come, fire coming from here, fire coming from nose, and from mouth. Yes, if you are a true lover of Allah, and a true lover of Prophet, and a true lover of Ahlul Bayt, because some of us hide behind Ahlul Bayt. We have to truly love Ahlul Bayt and Prophet and follow. You cannot hide behind Ahlul Bayt. He said, no, I do this, I do that. So long as you are not sincere and you eat people's wealth, you will have a problem on the day of Qiyamah. Another form of taking people's rights is to bring somebody down, is to defame somebody's character, is to put a person in a shame in front of people and fail to ask for forgiveness of Allah. You've taken the right of the person and Allah will not score you free. So all those things that I've been talking about, that, sakarat, malakul maut, these are some of the bad behaviors that if one gets rid of them, you will find malakul maut coming with nur ala nur to you. Now let us look at our responsibilities towards dying person. Number one responsibility is for you, the one sitting next to him, to be in wudu. You're sitting at the hospital and you realize that a person is departing from this world. The riwayah encourage you to be in a form of wudu, because wudu is nur. And maybe because of that wudu, Allah will lessen the pain and the headache of barzah. And even maybe some scholars said, because of that wudu, Allah will forgive the entire sin of the one who is departing. Simple a'mal. Look at how merciful Allah is. Number two responsibility that we have towards marhumin is to ensure that you make wudu for that person who is now in sakarat departure. Based on your capability, because sometimes the person will be in a certain situation and it might be very difficult because dying is not easy. Quran, Surah Al-Waqi'ah, made it very clear. فَإِذَا بَلَغَتِ الْخُلْقُومُ وَأَنْتُمْ حِينَئِذٍ تَنْظُرُونَ وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْكُمْ وَلَكِنْ لَا تُبْصِرُونَ. He said that moment when the soul reaches the throat and all of you are looking at the person, Allah said, we are closer to that person than you. So what does it mean? Narration says, if you perform wudu for that person, because of that wudu, it brings blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to that person who is dying. You know, sometimes we get very busy, phone calls, calling this, calling that, calling this. These are some of the important things we need to do, because now the person is embarking on a different journey altogether. Three. This now comes to those who pray. Our responsibility is to ensure that we place the person on his musalla. Do you have a particular spot in the house where you pray? Do you have a mihrab in your house where you pray? It is so important to have a particular spot in your room, in your house, where you don't allow up and down. That is where you make munajat with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Narration says, if you have such a spot, when things become tougher in the life of Barzah and on the day of Qiyamah, Allah will make that place be a witness on your behalf to enter Jannat al-Firdaus. So therefore, Islam says our next responsibility, make sure you put if you're at the hospital, is something else. Take the person with the help of those around, put him on his musalla, and let him face the direction of Qibla. And then begin to recite the kalima, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, Aliyun Waliyullah. You just recite it. Maybe he will have the tawfiq that his last word will be that. Because Rasulullah said, Man kana akhiru kalamihi la ilaha illallah dakhala al-jannah. Whoever's last word is la ilaha illallah, Allah will grant him Jannat al-Firdaus. So instead of standing there and sympathizing with one another and crying and crying and crying, engage in doing these kind of things. And that will make life easier as he exits from this world down. And of course, there are other du'as that Ahlul Bayt encourage us to recite next to the person. Like this dua we normally recite in Qunut. La ilaha illallah al-azim al-alim or halim al-azim. La ilaha illallah al-aliyul karim. Subhanallahi rabbi samawat wa rabbil ard. We are encouraged to recite those du'as next to the person who is dying. Now, the person is gone. This is the most important part of my lesson for tonight, and then I'm done. Few points I want to mention, and then we go tomorrow, we'll continue, inshallah. When a person dies, what are our responsibilities? Well, there are some trends in our communities which we need to change them based on the teachings of Ahlul Bayt. No doubt the first responsibility is to bury the person within a short space of time, not to delay. It is mustahab, it is highly sunnah that when a person dies, you don't delay. Delaying doesn't add anything except pain, unless if things are totally beyond our control, where need for postmortem and other stuff, then it's totally beyond your control. And like those in the West, now the cemeteries, you have to be given specific timing, And if it's a holiday, sometimes you cannot go and bury. We are lucky in Africa. Rasulullah said when a person dies during the day, bury him during the day. When he dies at night, bury him at night. And scholars made it very clear. Even Bibi Fatima alayhi salam was buried at night. Hence Rasulullah said, whoever becomes a means for a person to be buried within a short space of time, when the person dies, Allah will send 70 angels. They will be with him, asking for divine mercy on his behalf, right from his qabr up until the day of Qiyamah. The second is the most important one. You know, today if you look at our situation, we attend janaza by selecting and choosing. If it's a famous guy, people go. If it's a rich person, people go. You know, sometimes it's really disturbing. You will go to conduct janaza, 4 people. Sometimes you go conduct janaza in our own community. People who come flooded for majlis like this, and they flood for majlis of Abu Abdullah. 3, 4 people, only family members. You ask why, they say no, nobody knows him. We are choosing in this dunya up until akhirah. Now let us look at our responsibilities towards marhumin. Generally, the second responsibility which riwayah of Ahlul Bayt sanction is that the moment you hear somebody passed away, rush to that place. Unless, of course, things totally beyond your control. And there's nothing you can do. Islam doesn't force you. But riwayah said, when you are invited for marriage, attend, but take your time because it's about dunya. But when you are invited for janaza, leave everything and go because it will remind you of your akhirah. So we need to change that. No, I don't know him. He's not famous in the community. Do you know who will be there when you die? Do you know where you're going to die? Rasulullah said, if you attend the janaza of a person and you happen to die wherever you die, if there is no one, Allah will send the angels to do on your behalf. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. You forgot of Ahsan, you forgot of Hanzala, Gasilul Malaika. Hanzala, Malaika did not just go, they even perform his ghusl. So our responsibility is that the moment you hear, and I will show you some of the merits and the reward of attending janaza of others. People don't have time for their akhirah. We're thinking that when we attend, we are doing favor to that marhum. Yes, there's a sort of favor whereby Rasulullah said, if 40 believers come to a particular janaza and all of them testify, Allahumma inna la na'lamu minhu illa khayra wa anta a'lam bihi minna. Ya Allah, we know nothing from this fellow except the khair. The fact that those true, sincere 40 believers say that, irrespective of the level of his sin, Allah will sympathize with that person. So if you lose your loved one and people don't come, will you be happy? Third responsibility, these are simple, but I want us to follow true teachings of Ahlul Bayt in all that we do. We don't make some shortcuts and add our own things and traditions here and there. Let's follow strictly the true teachings of Ahlul Bayt, and we will find Allah merciful for us. Third, when we carry the body, narration says don't walk past the body. Walk behind. Don't rush. You see people running up and down. And I'll tell you the secret, the philosophy. You know, the marhum, he doesn't need anything from you. Huh? Your heart is what marhum need, and your dua and your presence. When Allah look at how we came and standing, that alone will trigger Allah's forgiveness and mercy. It's like Salatul Jama'ah. We are told when you come, you stand behind Imam. And may God forbid, Imam's heart is rusted. Allah will look at the heart of every person who is in the mosque. If there is one single person whose heart is okay, because of his presence, all your salat will be accepted. Narration says, if there is no one there whose heart is okay, the fact that you come together, Allah will accept your ibadah. So the same way, when a person dies, Rasulullah taught us it's an etiquette. Walk behind. Let the body be in front. The ash be in front. And this is from Imam Jafar Rasulullah. Imam Jafar said, Al-mashyu min al-khalfi afdal min al-amam. To walk from behind is better than walking from front. And Rasulullah said, the reason why you should walk from behind is because the angels walk in front and we have to be behind the angels of Allah. So this is our responsibility, so that our marhum will get barakah and the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The fourth one, which of course today may be difficult, but I have to mention, is when you go to bury, you walk. You walk. But as I said, today, maybe the Kabristan is far and security reasons for whatever. But Rasulullah said it is respect for the marhum if people walk. So that as they walk, they still ask him for forgiveness on his behalf. And by the time they reach, Allah accept them. See how Islam is easy, but we don't follow. Ma farratna fil kitab min shay'in. Allah said we've not left anything unattended. We have attended to everything. You just have to go and learn and apply it. The fifth one, which is our responsibilities towards marhum. When you come to janazah, stop talking about dunya because you are harming the marhum. You see how sometimes we come, these 2-3 people, they are laughing. This one, they standing there, they are laughing. That one standing there is laughing. Billahi alaik, between and Allah, if it's your dad, will you laugh? When others are going through pain, and they are asking Allah, inna la na'lamu minhu illa khayra. And you standing there, you laughing. You talking about business transactions, then what's the point of coming to janazah? You are asked to come to the janazah to present certain hearts. And maybe because of that heart, Allah forgives completely for the marhumah. So our fifth responsibility is what? Rasulullah said, when you come to janazah, think of akhirah. And keep asking maghfirah on behalf of that marhum. Make dua for him. Be busy about that. And that will go a long way. Now the sixth one. Very nice one. So Allah said, don't just go there. Try to hold the tabut. The coffin, try to hold. And Rasulullah said, whoever touch it 4 times, his 40 sins will be forgiven by the time he get back home. So when they carry La ilaha illallah, which is also recommended to be recited, there is a riwayah, say repeat La ilaha illallah when you take marhum. We have that. So I want you to know, whatever you do, there are proofs. Don't just do because the community was built like this. We found it that way. Let's go. Now we need to understand everything that we do. So Rasulullah said, if you hold, it's like touching 1, 2, 3, 4. Rasulullah said, 40 sins are forgiven by Allah. And then the last one, which Rasulullah said, whoever comes to janazah, he prayed a salat. And then after salat, he has the sabr. He followed the body to Kabristan, because some, they don't have time. They come, they pray salat, they go. Yes, you'll get certain reward from Allah. But Rasulullah said he prayed janazah. Then he goes to Kabristan with the body. And then he stayed there at the Kabristan for everything to be done. When his time is up, Allah will send 70 angels to welcome his soul to Dar al-Akhirah. What else do you want? Sometimes you see many people come for Salat Janazah. By the time we reach Kabristan, 10 people. 10. And the same people who come and find them, they are standing here talking. It's the right of Maro. So we need to change our approach a bit and encourage one another. Because a person will need you more after it. You can give me gold in this world. But when I die, I will need you more. When I die, I don't need that gold. I just need your heart and your presence. And that will make Allah forgive me. Now, last but not least, is the ghusl we make. Ghusl is the right of a marhum. But it has its etiquettes. And if those etiquettes are not upheld, then it defeats the entire purpose. The first etiquette of ghusl, especially those who make ghusl. Tomorrow, inshallah, we'll discuss some very interesting stuff. The privacy of a person has to be intact. In that process of ghusl, make sure his privacy is covered. I'm not talking of finishing. Islam said try by all means not to have eye contact with the privacy of the person. Rasulullah said, Man ghassala mayyitan fasatara fakattama kharaja min dhunubihi kayawmi waladathu ummuh. Whoever makes ghusl of a person, then during that process, you make sure you don't see the privacy of the person. By the time you finish the ghusl, you come out of your sins like the first day you arrive in this world. 2 etiquettes. The first water you pour on a dead body, Imam Jafar said, repeat, Allah afu, Allah afu, Allah afu. Imam said, Man karrara Allah afwa, la yantahi illa afa'ullah. Whoever, you take the first water, you start pouring, you said, Allah afu, Allah afu. You are asking Allah to pardon this marhum. Imam said, you will not finish until Allah pardon the marhum because of your afu. Now those who are making ghusl, they're making noise, they're talking. This one want to correct that one. This one want to correct that one. And they're pulling the marhum. Now the wounds of removal of the body is still there. One narration says, if you don't do it or hesitate slowly, the marhum is calling. Slowly, slowly, I'm going through pain. I'm going through pain. People, why you are talking about dunya? I'm going through pain. I need your dua. I need this akhirah. Afa'ullah. And then the next one is simple, it's simple. But I see common technical mistakes we make. And we're risking the life of people in Barzakh. Rasulullah said, when you then have to tend the body, because when you make the ghusl, you have to tend the body, isn't it? The mayyit goes through pain. He said, slowly, do it slowly for me. But the Rasulullah said, when you tend the body, you don't just tend the body, there's something to recite quickly. If you don't know Arabic, don't worry, recite in English, recite in Gujarati, recite in Swahili. The mayyit need it and you need it. Rasulullah said you should recite, Allahumma hadha badanu abdik. Ya Allah, this is the body of your servant. Akhrajta ruha. You have removed his soul. وَفَرَّقْتَ بَيْنَهُمَا. And you have separated the soul from the body. Afwuka, afwuka, ya Allah. Allah, pardon him, pardon him, pardon him. إِلَّا غَفَرَ اللَّهُ لَهُ جَمِيعًا. Except that after saying this, Allah will forgive them at home. So therefore, the way we approach janaza itself is somewhat a way of relieving them at home of the package of loss he's carrying before akhirah. It's how merciful Allah is. So therefore, it's not only marum, you also have duties to play. I have duty to play. I as an alim, I have to tell you this is the situation and this is the etiquette we need to uphold. And the last, etiquette of ghusl. Rasulullah said, whatever you see, shut your mouth. Funny stuff happens when a person dies. Faces change. Things change. Holes in body. Some slap themselves before they leave this world. Some scratch their bodies. You the one making the ghusl is amana. Don't go out and start telling people, oh, I've seen something, it breaks my heart. Don't even say that. Leave it there. It's amana. Because you are guaranteed. The one who make ghusl, Allah will make you ghusl of the water of Jannah. But today people don't want to be in the kafan dafan community or committee. People run away. But you want somebody to bury you and you don't want to do it. Youth, this is an opportunity to grab with all arms. Wallahi. Make ghusl, learn. There's nothing scary about it. It teaches you the reality. You make the ghusl, you will get the ghusl from the water of Jannah. And Rasulullah says, whoever put kafan on a mayyit, you will be clothed with the cloth of Jannah when your time is up. You come with the kafan, you place the kafan on the mayyit. You will get the kafan of Jannah. Let's compete in doing this work. Volunteer. Wallah. To such a point, look at Rasulullah. Alhamdulillah, we are blessed where there are people who dig the graves for us. But Rasulullah said, whoever helps to dig the grave of a marhum, Allah will build a place for him in Jannah. We don't dig. Okay, there are other African areas people dig themselves. Alhamdulillah, we are blessed, we've got the money. We hire people, they dig for us. But this is the saying of Rasulullah. After that, of course, is the Salatul Janazah, which is highly recommended we all learn. These are simple words. How many years you've been making Salat al-Janazah people, everybody stand one after the other, Salat al-Janazah test. I think this should be our homework tonight. Because maybe because of you, and only you, Allah forgives them. But we stand behind the Imam, we don't know what to recite. So this is the message I wanted to pass across tonight. Let us all go back home and learn. And when there is janazah, let us all come and show that support. And tomorrow we'll look at the topic of way to cemetery. What do I mean by this way to cemetery? During ghusl, what sort of things happen? During carrying the body on your road to cemetery, what sort of things transpire? We'll look at them tomorrow to understand the true teachings of Ahl al-Bayt alayhim as-salatu was-salam. Now we conclude by taking all our souls and hearts to the holy land of Karbala. Because كل عين باقية يوم القيامة إلا عينا بكت للحسين. Imam al-Rida said, إن كنت باقيا فابك للحسين فإن البكاء للحسين تحت الذنوب جميعا. Whenever you lose your loved ones and you are to mourn and cry for the loss of your loved ones, the best way to do so is to remember the tragedy of Karbala. Let me leave you with these two lines. When Mukhtar got hold of a Harmala, Mukhtar asked Harmala, what did you do on the 10th day of Muharram? Harmala said, I had 7 targets on the 10th day of Muharram. But 4 of those targets were successful and 3 I missed them. So Mukhtar asked Harmala, I'm not interested in those that you missed. What were the 4 targets that you were successful? He said the first target, Hussein was lying on the ground. You know, some Arbab al-Makatil described that moment. Imam Hussein was like a hedgehog. And they were ready to strike their arrows to the body of Abu Abdullah. Then his nephew, the son of Imam Hassan Abdullah, he rushed to the body of Abu Abdullah. And he said, instead of the arrow going straight to the body of my uncle, let the arrow be on my body. So they struck the arrow on the right arm of Abdullah. And Abdullah began to chant, Mom, they've struck arrow on my right hand. So Armala said, this is my first successful target. Mukhtar asked him, what was your second successful target? He said, that hurts me a lot. Because he said, I took an arrow which they normally used to cut camel neck. He said, as Hussein was holding the infant baby, I struck that arrow straight to the neck of the baby. Mukhtar said, I asked Karmala, what did you then see? He said, I saw the arrow stuck on the neck. Allahu Akbar. Then Mukhtar asked him, what was your third successful arrow? He said, my third successful arrow is that I saw Abbas struggling. 2 hands were gone off. And I saw him falling down. Then I struck the arrow on the right eye of Abbas. And then the last arrow, I leave you with it. Mukhtar asked him, what was your last arrow? He said, my last arrow, I smear a poisonous substance on that arrow. Now when Hussein was going left and right, I struck that arrow straight to the forehead of Hussein. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. We ask Allah to grant our marhumin Jannat al-Firdaus. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, especially the marhumin of this community, wherever they are in their life of barzakh, through the barakat of this majlis, we ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to illuminate their graves and their life of barzakh, inshallah. May Allah inspire us to know our responsibilities towards our marhumin. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى اللهم على محمد وآله الطاهرين.